Hello everyone, this is Ryan. I'm at Wave On, one of my favorite cafes, and I visited this place on a regular basis when I am under the weather and I feel very stressful. Today, today is the end of Seollal, a Korean national holiday, to celebrate the starting point of the year. But first of all, I'd like to say hello to you guys, and I want to say something. Yeah. Principal Language Institute will be in Malaysia, in Johor, and I have been thinking of the program, especially designed program. That's why I decided to make a targeted news coverage, news report for third grade and fourth grade and fifth grade and sixth grade, even middle school and middle elementary school, and even middle school, eighth, ninth grade of the level. And before that, we will decide whether or not the student's level is based on a specific and very concrete level of the reading books, and we will asking some of the psychological questions and very basic questions and dialogue and casual talk. And this is sixth grade or seventh grade in American school. So that's why I'm here to make a mock test. Yeah. If you want to say 강압에 의해, amid rising reports of scam center kidnapping and abuse in Southeast Asia. Yeah, this is talking about Cambodia. And 사회 취약계층. How can you say 사회 취약계층 in English? 사회 취약계층 is people who are exposed to harm or risks due to social, economic, physical, or emotional disadvantages. Individuals who require protection or special support. Yeah. 사회 취약계층. Yeah. So if you say the vulnerable, yes, the is particle, and vulnerable is susceptible and weak, physically or mentally weak. So people who are exposed to harm or risk due to social, economic, physical, and emotional disadvantages. Individuals who require protection or special support. For example, government subsidies are designed to support the vulnerable during economic downturns. For example, emergency shelters were opened to protect the vulnerable during the heat wave. For example, healthcare programs must prioritize the vulnerable, including the elderly and lower-income families. For example, cyber criminals often target the vulnerable with online scams and fake investment schemes. Yeah. And the desperate. Yeah, the desperate. The desperate. People in a state of extreme need or hopelessness, often willing to take risky or drastic actions because they feel they have no alternatives. Yeah, it means they have no alternatives. So think about 절박한 사람들, 절박 in a very immediate help or consideration. People in a state of extreme need or hopelessness, often willing to take risky or drastic actions. For example, if you are in a debt, severe debt, yeah, you should turn on the loan. For example, not a bank or investment bank, rather on private, loans companies like Russian Cash or Lydian Cuff, and this gives you a lot of higher rate of borrowing money. So, for example, aid organizations stepped in to help the desperate after the flood left thousands without homes. Next, the loan sharks prey on the desperate who have no access to legitimate financial support. So, this is the case. The loan sharks. Yeah, in Korean, 악덕 대부업체, so loan sharks. Sharks is a very risky animal, right? And in times of famine, the desperate will sell anything of value to survive, like diamond and rings, etc., and even their organs. And the policy was designed to give the desperate a second chance rather than punish them further. Yeah, like 구제금융, yeah, bailout, or 회생, 파산, a bankruptcy, and things like that. And next, be forced into a, 강압적으로 하게 되다. To be pushed or pressured into a situation, action, or role without genuine choice or willingness. 어쩔 수 없이 하게 되다. For example, many small businesses were forced into layoffs during the economic recession. Yeah, even small-sized or middle-sized companies had no choice but to do it because they had no money. And next, she was forced into signing the agreement after her employer threatened to fire her. In this case, a very unfair contract content would be included. And next, thousands of families were forced into relocation because of the construction project. Yeah, and relocation in this case could be used to refer to, during World War II. Yeah. Jews had to relocate themselves to another place because of the Nazi Germany. And by coercion, 강압에 의해, through the use of threats, pressure, intimidation, or force to make someone act during their will, yeah, by coercion, yeah, by other forces, The confession was obtained by coercion and later ruled inadmissible in court. And workers claim they were persuaded to resign by coercion rather than a voluntary choice. Many victims handed over their financial information by coercion during the scam. The organization emphasized that donations should be voluntary and never collected by coercion. Yeah, these are the things that I would think of for Principal Academy in Johor in Malaysia. And this is very targeted language, and based on the very elementary level and middle level and advanced levels could be used for some of the things. And also, under coercion, yeah, the word coercion, and in front of that, under external and internal, acting or making decisions because of outside threats, pressure, or intimidation rather than free will, behavior controlled by forces beyond one's internal choice. The committee stated that the witness might have spoken under external coercion. Negotiations broke down when it became clear that some participants were acting under coercion. Yeah. And several tenants signed a new lease under external coercion from the property developer. Activists argue that confessions made under coercion can never be considered reliable. So I want parents and students to extend and their expressions and vocabularies and grammar things to a point where, they would be satisfied with. Yeah, this is absolutely important. That's why this article is the best choice. And this is up to date and very latest things rather than 10 years ago or 20 years ago. That's why this is really important. And on top of that, news article gives our insight and very sophisticated thing. For example, what do you think of this policy? What do you think of this situation? So because they can write down some of the sentences and paragraphs and even paragraph and word and with specific words. Yeah, that's really important. That's why I decided, and I can make it, because I am a specialist about this, and I can tell you that this program with students, a lot of benefits and insights. And even when they go to South Korea, they can continue this project. And even principal can help. Thank you.